Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast to guide you home into your human journey here on Earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard, and it is my delight to co create with Gaia and share our messages from Source in this now moment. Here we go. Episode 417. It is Thursday here in Cincinnati. It's warm. I think we're in the 50s or 60s today. We have rain instead of snow, but it's a little gray outside. So I come to you from inside my warm, cozy home with lots of light and scent and magic all around me. I have been trying to decide what today's theme will actually be, and I'm not quite sure where it's going, but I feel like that happens so many times in this space. So I'm going to read to you from Just White Light, and then we'll follow the trail and we'll see where it takes us today. So I have 4 books, and the 4th one I wrote right before the new moon in Aquarius. What year was that? 2020? It was right before the pandemic, I believe, is when I published this. You would think I would remember. Yeah, it was 2020. It's called Just White Light. It's my eyeball, a picture taken by my beautiful friend Lisa, and then with a purple filter put on top of it, and all kinds of magic inside this book. This book, Just White Light, is my interpretation of what happens in other places besides Gaia, Earth, like what other thought fields or planets or planes of consciousness look like where the soul goes to play. And it ends, the last chapter, it ends with home. And for a long time, not for a long time, since I wrote this book over the last couple of years, home in my interpretation of it meant back with Source outside of Gaia, like somewhere away, somewhere not here, meaning when we've completed our journey on Earth and we've traveled through all of the places in the universe that we want to explore, home is this place that you go to where you reunite with Source. And I talk in the book about the arc of a soul's journey, how we start as just white light. We're emerging from Source or the one light, and then we travel through all of these places and experiences, and all of those inform our colors. They bring color and texture and multidimensionality into a soul that's just a baby, pure consciousness energy of white light. And so over this arc of our soul's journey, we accumulate all of these beautiful elements, and so we become all of these colors. And you can connect that to the colors of the chakra. You can connect that to the colors of the soul's evolution, as Dr. Michael Newton describes it in his book, Journey of Souls. You can just connect it to color if you have studied color at all. And white is it encompasses all color. It brings, when you have all colors and you return to just white light, underneath all of that are all of these colors. And so that's what I describe in Just White Light, the book. And sometimes words just don't cut it. They just don't explain it. And I feel like many of the people who've read Just White Light, the book, are like, okay, cool. And also, I don't get it, dude. Like, what was that book? And I have a sense, perhaps part of that is because I didn't actually get it. Like, I translated what I was receiving in my channeling and what I could feel, what I could sense inside of me, but it hadn't quite clicked for me. And I still was believing home is somewhere else I go to, and it's not here. It's not this body, this lifetime. Even as I was rebranding and making the name of my business Infinite Embodiment, which is about the soul coming home here into this body, into this moment fully, And so it's been a journey. It's been, lessons and layers and understanding and sitting and meditating and getting frustrated. And, just the whole journey that we go through when we are beings of consciousness in these limited human bodies. We're like, what? And that's where I've been. And I've also felt like, oh, I get it. I understand it. And also, maybe I don't. So I'm naming that for, I believe, many of us who know that we are aware and awake and evolving and assimilating and aligning. Like, we know all of this and we feel like, are we anywhere on our path? Have we done anything? Have we learned anything? There's so much still to learn. It's such a paradox, a dichotomy, a duality. And it's okay. It's totally normal. It's confusing as shit, and it's also so beautiful and so inviting and engaging and exhilarating. So all of that to say, this past week I have been regrouping. If you watched last week's episode, after my realization of, the documentary and traveling the world and doing all of these things that were in my other book, Gaia's Gifts, I'm like, oh, it's happening. It's going to happen this year. Force, effort, and block after block after block. So I surrendered and have been just sitting with it and contemplating and trying to understand and look for the signs. And there's a beautiful video that I watched by Santero. It was actually the Leo video. And the reason I watched is because we had a full moon in Leo last night. I'm like, okay, there's a collective focus on Leo right now. There must be something here for me. And of course, the whole message of that video by Santero, it's like you're driving down a road and there's a roadblock. There's an accident. There's something that is stopping you that isn't yours. It's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong, but you have to stop because you can't keep going down the road. And she said, so your invitation or your work is to just be in your own experience while that accident or roadblock or, thing that's happening that is out of your control gets cleared up. And what you will find as you're in this space reassessing is by the time that roadblock is cleared, you may not even want the road you were traveling to be the one you're on anymore. You may decide to go a different way or have it be a different experience. And I was like, how'd she know? Don't you love that when you're in alignment and your guides send you a sign and you're like, oh my God, that sign is so good. How did they know that? Yeah, that's why it's called a sign. And alignment is when you put yourself in a place to be open to receive that sign and be aware that it's a sign and get the joke out of it, get the laugh, get the soothing, get the validation that you're going to be okay and you're not on the wrong path. And there's this beautiful, complex co-creation that is always happening, and we can't see all of the aspects of it. We just know where we are and we're at a roadblock and it's so annoying. So I have been busy doing a lot of like human stuff and working and playing, and in the back of my mind going, what's the new plan? What's the new path? How do I reassess? What am I supposed to do? Like, I had my path and now my path is not looking as certain to me. And when I have a hard stop like that, I'm assuming you might have this too. When I have a hard stop and I know I've got the message right, I know that my guides are trying to say stop or slow down. You're not doing it wrong, but like something has to shift, so stop. When I get that, I'm kind of like a lost little toddler or, a little kid who's like, well, now what? You put me in timeout, in a sense. Now what do I do? And it's hard for me. It's challenging for me to refocus and get my groove going again, or to use the words I like to use, to get back in the flow. I need some recalibration or reset, because I was in what I thought was flow, push, resistance, and then I got stopped, and now what? And it takes a little time. And, you know, when I went through my divorce, for example, it took me years. It wasn't even a few weeks or months. It took me a few years to trust my intuition and my signs and settle into relationship again and trust the divine. It was bumpy, and for this time, it didn't feel, I mean, I know I'm going to still do the things that I intend to do, but it was so abrupt, kind of like a sudden stop at a roadblock. It was so abrupt and so not what I thought was going to happen that the surprise of it really had me reeling significantly. Right? It's like life sometimes just feels so hard, so disappointing. Even though everything is good, my health is good, life is good, everyone around me is good, like everything's good, but there's that, oh. So, all of that to say, last week I just sort of wanted to figure it out and have a new plan, and I didn't have a new plan, and um, so I have just been kind of moving through my routine, trusting a plan will show itself, and maybe it'll be in a few months, you know, and then until then, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And so Tuesday, I sat down. Of course, we had a full moon in Leo. Like, I should have been more patient with myself. Full moon in Leo and quietly listening last night, which is like a 1-2 celebration punch, you know, like so exciting, the energy of those two together. So Tuesday I sat down and I started just journaling and being very intentional. Like I just want to see the step that serves me the most next, besides doing my work, which I love, and being with my family, which I love. Like in this big vision, this trajectory of my soul that I'm here to fulfill, what's the next step? And can you just show me that? Even if I'm at a roadblock, like let me understand what I'm doing. And I know I'm going on and on about this, but that's how it feels when we have that intense of a desire to stay true to the calling of who we are, to the gifts we know we're here to contribute. It's like there's this just longing and desire inside of me to always be in the greatest alignment with my soul, even in this human reality. And I don't know if everybody else feels this. Sometimes I wonder, like, am I weird or strange that I have this like focus, this laser focus on this? But then last night I had this beautiful conversation with a woman who feels the same way I do. And I was like, I know it's not just me. I know it's not just me. I know there are so many of us who feel this like deep love of the soul being here in the human experience, and just wanting to give our very best at all times to that level of consciousness, even as we live human day-to-day activities. So I sat down, I started journaling and writing, and, you know, just listening to music and trying to figure out, watch the Santero video, just trying to like put the pieces in place and find how it all fits together like a big puzzle again. And my Just White Light book just popped forward. I was like, what was that home thing? Because the song I Am from the In album by East Forest, I just keep listening to it over and over. So I was like, what is that part about home in the back of that book? I'm going to go back and read it again. And so I'm going to read it to you, because after I read that, I could see like, oh, this is the shift that I am making. Well, just to back up for a moment, I just redid my homepage. I think I shared that with you guys a few weeks ago. I was sitting around my birthday, and I channeled or wrote down this new message that I wanted to put as the main message on my website to invite people into this journey home. And so I'd already been in my Just White Light book, because that chapter is called Pluto, the doorway home. The doorway home. And so a lot of what I share is from that energy. But again, it's Pluto. It's like going outside of Gaia, outside of the human experience. And so as I've been looking at my new website homepage and kind of feeling into all these shifts that are happening and listening to the I am, I read this, and so I'll read it to you. This is the last chapter of the book. It's called Home. I am. I am light. I am breath. I am sound. I am creativity, expressed through the individual, unique contribution of many to the whole. I am play, pleasure, joy, dancing through the galaxy in every experience. I am source, God, love. I am the one, the only, because there is no true separation. I am you. I am me. I am all, and I celebrate your return home, our return home. Totally open to interpretation as you receive whatever vibration you receive from it. But for me, when I channeled that, when I received that message, when I was completing Just White Light, what I felt was the energy of source, the universe, light, the creative energy that started all existence, all consciousness. I wrote in one of the other books, the one from where we all originate and the one to whom we all return. This all-encompassing unity, consciousness, oneness. That's what I feel when I hear this and when I read this. Home is all of us, life, everything, all energy, all light, all in every moment. And that means here. That means in this moment. That means in this body. And what I could feel was home. I am home isn't I'm going home. I'm going to source. I'm completing my journey and I'm leaving this body and going somewhere. And that's home. I am home I'm home right in this moment. I am home in my body. I am soul, infinite soul in this finite, limited human experience. But I'm here and it's home. And source is all around me and all of us. And light is in me and through me and around me, and sound and breath. And so all of us are home. What I believe happens is we have this beautiful combination of the mind, the body, and then this infinite soul expression. And we separate them or divide them or put all of our power or attention on just one part of that. So the mind loops and gets busy and, has attachments and patterns and stories and limitations. And the body gets ignored and or pushed too hard, and the mind and the body have this fight. And so the infinite soul, the expression, it can't be heard or can't be included fully because there's all this other power dynamic that is happening. I believe there are so many tools to support humans in aligning and harmonizing the soul with the body, with the mind, and finding a way to, instead of push, effort, pull, to it's not manipulate or maneuver, like to work with, to form and mold and shape the way that the soul and the body and the mind play. And it's all in our hands, in our awareness, in our attention. But we haven't created lives or structures that allow us the time or the space or the ability to really focus on that. We're just go, 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 go. Push, 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 effort, effort. I know, I've been doing that. And then there's a roadblock. And sometimes maybe that's your health or your money or your relationship, or sometimes it's just like what I experienced. It's like something has to shift. You're not quite ready for whatever is happening. behind the scenes over there in the cosmos, in consciousness, and you've got to just sort of be with what's happening and bring yourself into greater alignment. And that's what I experienced. So I took those phrases that I received from myself, Source, God, all consciousness, and re-blueprinted or gridded or structured. I rebuilt as an architect my website, grouping everything under those energies. I am light, I am breath, I am sound, I am creativity, and I am play. And then I am home encompasses all of that. And then there's going to be a separate tab that says our return home. And our return home is once we have been doing this work individually on bringing ourselves into alignment, into home inside of ourselves, then there's this community home that we can start building and creating. There's this global Gaia home that we can tune into. And there are celebrations that we can co-create together where we are bringing our individual homeness into gatherings with others who are exactly in that same embodied, beautiful frequency, and we can start collaborating and building new experiences. And along the way, there's overlapping of that. You know, one of what I would call my most VIP or intense or one-on-one partnership in the walk that I do with my clients who become my friends. What I have found is the most intimate way to do that is a program, an offering that I call Remembering Together. And it's individual, so we do individual energy sessions, and you individually read my books as it applies in certain times, and do Awakening the Guides, the self-guided course. You know, there's all of these individual I am steps, and at the same time, there's the community of the energy gym. There's the community of the quietly listening spaces. There's this merging of becoming fully yourself, embodied, harmonized within the community structure, walking one-on-one next to me. It's like, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. So I feel like real life examples often help bring the message home, help to integrate or to give some sort of context to what are very ethereal, cosmic sort of topics that I sometimes bring into this space. So here's the example that kept coming to mind. You know, the DIY channels and the I forget what they're called now, like all the home channels where you can watch people remodeling their homes. I think during quarantine, so many people just sat home and started watching all of that, and then getting inspired and spent their stimulus checks on redoing their homes or remodeling. You know, so many remodeling companies right now are busy because people are reinvesting in their physical home. And I feel like maybe that's a first step. When our physical home feels cozy and simplified and harmonious, then there's this desire to do that within our own body, within our own awareness. And so perhaps the physical homes shifting first is like a massive step for many humans right now to guide us towards doing the inner work in our body temple too, our body home. So the image that kept coming to mind, and this is sort of the way I see my relationship with my guides, and I say guides because I feel like, you know, Gaia is one of my greatest guides. Source, I have many guides that I work with who I feel like I have specific names or frequencies for them, and I can determine or discern who's giving me what message. And I don't think I'm unique in that. I think many people have that. Maybe we call them guardian angels or beings. But we have that kind of dynamic of trusting the voice or the frequency that we receive and knowing who it's coming from or what source it's coming from. Anyway, the image I was seeing, it was of like Chip and Jo are probably my favorite home designers. Magnolia something, is that what they have? But what I love about the way that they work, it feels like the people who come to them are fully resourced. They have a vision of what they want. They know that they want to live in that town. They know that they have a budget and what that budget is going to be. They're able to articulate some of their desires and their visions of what they see. They're offered options of 4 or 5 homes that Chip and Jo have gone through and, filtered. And then they all sit down and they come to an agreement together. We're going to partner. We're going to do this project together. And you've given us the okay. We're going to ask you a few more questions, get some more information from you. And then you are going to go off couple, people, family, and be on your own for a while. And we're going to do our work. We know what we're doing. And when we are finished, we'll bring you in and there'll be a grand reveal. And when that grand reveal happens, you're going to cry. We're going to cry. It'll all be televised. And it's going to be this beautiful moment. And you'll live happily ever after in this home. And we'll go on and do this again with the next couple or family. That image, that story is what I felt for my guides and myself. So, and I think this is for all of us. So I'm just giving you the image for you to play with in your own way. But it feels like we all have this potential dialogue and play and communication available with our guides. So I was feeling how I got the roadblock a week ago, 2 weeks ago, which Santara said was, going down a road and you see an accident or construction or something and you have to stop. For me, it felt, as I reframed it with this image of home, it had this feeling of, okay, we're in the middle of a remodel. I have this beautiful structure in place that I already love, this life that is amazing. All these pieces in my home feel so good, and there's a new addition being put on, or there's a new remodel happening, or some sort of expansion is going to be happening to my home. And so my guides are like Chip and Jo. And they come in and they block, stop, put all the things in place so I can't actually see what that remodel is going to look like yet. I get kicked out of the house, in a sense, to go do something else while they do their job. So my guide's job right now is to put in place whatever most serves my soul's contribution to humanity. And I, in my ego, think that it should look like a documentary that starts in June. My guides may have a whole different possibility, not may, they do, have a whole different possibility waiting for me that I can't see yet because it's not time, because they're still putting the pieces in place, because there are lots of other partners and preparations that I can't even possibly be aware of yet that need to be smoothed out so that when it's time, it's just this seamless flow of alignment and energy activations and creations and collaborations and beauty and joy. And I, as a human, can't orchestrate that or force that with my mind or with my body or with my soul. All I can do is clarify what I desire and send that message to my guides, which I have been. And each delay helps me clarify a little bit more and decide for myself, like, which elements are going to be the most important or significant, and which ones can perhaps let go. And so my guide's work is to be doing all the building and the stuff behind the set, behind the scenes that I can't see and I'm not meant to see, and it would ruin the fun. What if Chip and Jo's people that she's building a home for show up every single day and knock on the door and they're like, what are you doing today? How's it going today? Did you get a lot done yesterday? I don't know if I like that color. Maybe you should change it to this. Like, can you imagine the delay, the frustration, the stress and conflict that would happen in that dynamic if that was the energy constantly oh, it's just like, it's like having a low level toothache, just like, just rubbing at you. I think a great comparison would be Love It or List It, which is also on one of those. HGTV is the name. I couldn't think of the name. HGTV. I believe Love It or List It is on that. And in that, they have to decide. So the client or the family hasn't actually made a decision yet. They haven't clarified their desire fully. They sort of know some of the things that they want, but can the house be fixed up enough that they decide to stay? Or do they have to leave the house and go to a new house and, create a whole different life in a new neighborhood with other structures? And so there's all this pressure and conflict, and I know a lot of it is show created, but the couple keeps coming up against budget. Usually this is what happens. There's some disaster in the house they weren't aware of, and so the list it side keeps going higher and higher, or they have to, the Love It where they stay goes higher, higher, or they have to compromise on something they really desire to fix like a foundational issue in the house that really should be fixed. And in the meantime, the other person is showing them the greatest, most beautiful new thing that's already outside of their price range they can't even afford. And so it's filled with drama and conflict, and sometimes that's what we want. We love that. We love watching that. We love and there are times I've sat and watched Love It or List It, and I'm like, oh my God, this is ridiculous and they should do that. We jump in, and reality TV, we want to be part of the tension and the drama that we see. I have come to a place where I don't really enjoy that anymore. I don't want the drama. What I prefer is clarity and precision and harmony and dreams being fulfilled. Hearing from someone like, this is what I most desire my home to be and to feel like, and this is the home we're going to be in for a long, long time. I had that when we found this home, the home that my husband and I are in right now. At the time we found it, we each had our own individual homes because we were both divorced and divorcing. And so we were wanting to go into something new together, but also had my children and knew we needed like room and space, and wanted to put a pool in and make it like the hub for their activities with their friends. And so we found this home after several months of looking, which it's even worse now, I think, because the housing market is so hot. But at the time, we just couldn't find what we wanted, and I was getting so frustrated. We were living with my parents. The kids and I were living with my parents. I was driving all over town. It was like, oh, I just want to find the house. And I was getting so irritated with what I didn't know I would call them my guides, but like my inner intuition, which really was my guides. And I'd be like, what's the matter? Why can't we find this place? And there's got to be something better than what we're looking at. And what are we going to do? And when we finally walked onto this property, I mean, we drove up the driveway, which back then was crumbling. Not as bad as it got, but it was pretty bad. And trees making it sort of dark and shroudy. But we pulled up, and it just started snowing that day, a light little dusting. And we got out of the car, and I just remember going, this is home. I already know, like this is where I want to be. And we walked through the house, and it just felt like the house kept going and going. There were all these other areas. I'm like, what is this place? And we walked in the backyard and dreamed about a pool, but there wasn't a pool there. There were some big fir trees and a fire pit. And we're just walking around looking at all of it. And both of us knew it was above what our price range was, and how were we going to do this? So we tried negotiating, didn't go well, and then my guidance popped in, my guides, and they're like, you need to communicate from your heart why you want to be here directly to the human on the other side of the negotiating table. And so I wrote a letter and directly to them and said, I'm going to raise my family here. My children are going to play in these rooms, and their friends are going to come over, and this is where we are going to build the next few years, I don't know, we could be here 20 years, 30 years. This is where we are going to be as a family. And I ask that you work with us on the price, because it's a leap for us, but you're gifting us just everything we've been dreaming of. And they said yes and lowered the price to exactly what we needed it to be. It was, and I was doing a lot of energy work too. My friend Deb and I, she's like, okay, I want you to visualize yourself like pulling in and seeing your name on the mailbox and receiving your mail, and you pull into the garage and you park your car, and then the one that was the masterpiece of all, she said, I want you to visualize you're sending hot air balloons from, or yeah, I think they're hot air balloons. She's like, from your house, like signals out into the universe, like this is your home, this home is yours, it's where you're going to be. Oh my gosh, I did all of it. I did all the things, and it worked, and we moved in here. Then the journey began, which is really, which I guess is what I'm showing you here. It's like I could write the book, I could channel and receive the words, I could see the vision, I can have all the information, and I need to be in it. When we moved into the home, we could find all the things that still needed to be fixed. We still had to pay and make money to do the pool, and then all the repairs that just dominoed from bringing all those trucks in and out. Oh, like it just started when we moved into this home. That wasn't the end. That was just the beginning. And that's what I feel when I read these words. I know there will be a moment of reuniting with Source, with light, with the oneness that created everything, the origin from where we all came and the one to whom we all return. That absolutely will happen. And it's happening right now. It's already happening here. In this moment, in this body, I am all of that energy and consciousness and light and sound and breath and creativity and play. Like, I am all of that. I am me, and I am you, and you are me. Like, we are all this beautiful expression of the same oneness. And so I don't have to leave to go do that or experience that. I do it right now, here, in this moment. Which is so, it's so beautiful. And so the work is just beginning. The journey is just beginning. And I feel like finally I get infinite embodiment. I claimed the name, I put it on my website, I started putting all the pieces in place, created the LLC. Like, I've got all these things that say infinite embodiment. And this week I feel like, oh, oh, that's what it means. That's what it is. I am home. I am home, like here, now. And the work is just starting. The play is just starting. The expression, the creativity is just starting. And how amazing and awesome is that I don't know what happens next. I have desires, I have dreams, I have visions, I have compulsions, feelings that are moving me forward along the path, but I don't even know what I don't know yet, because my guides are super busy putting all these magical elements in place, bringing people into my journey who I haven't even met yet, who are going to be like magnificent partners and guides with me, and who knows what Gaia is becoming. Like, I feel like I know, I've written about it, I talk about it, I express Gaia's love, but that's only through the limitation of what I can feel in this moment. So as big as my heart feels Gaia's love, like, Gaia is going to expand. Her love is going to expand. And somehow I am going to be translating my understanding of that. And so I'm going to have to keep expanding. And this energy is just going to keep multiplying. And like, it's so good. It's so good. I actually just had this thought when I was talking about the letter to that family that sold us the house. I feel like I need to send them another letter and just say, you had no idea. I had no idea what this home would become. Like, when I moved in here, I wasn't picturing new moon circles happening, events happening, sessions. I didn't know I would be doing sessions and holding gym calls and creating a podcast. Like, I never knew this room and this broadcast center of Gaia's love would be here. This room didn't even exist. We added this wall because my son wanted to have a gaming room on the other side, and it was open before, and he's like, I need a wall because I can hear you working and it's annoying. And so we put drywall up so he would have a dark space over there for his gaming computer. And now I have this. I didn't even know. I didn't even have the idea to visualize it because it wasn't even in my awareness yet. The pool, I think about just the hours, the days, the weeks of play and laughter and joy and silliness and relationship building, just the stuff that has been worked out in the energy of that pool year after year. And we're just beginning. We have grandbabies coming over to swim now. Like, it's just starting. It's just starting. So it's, I just feel so filled up with gratitude and potential. Some of the articles I was reading about the full moon in Leo, they were talking about just have the courage to be who you are. Just allow your heart to express and don't filter. Don't be uniquely you. And Leo isn't necessarily about roaring and being loud and visible and seen. It's about having the courage to creatively be fully yourself. And I feel that shift. On our Quietly Listening call last night, I left a message for Andrea afterwards, and I was like, I felt like I could see you. I could see you dancing. I could just see the magic that she was, and the possibilities of all the things that she and I can co-create together that we don't even know about yet because we're just getting started. We're just getting started. And it's so good. It's so exciting. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I am also in preparations for my beautiful husband's 50th birthday. I turned 50 last year. So as he likes to remind everyone, I'm 2 years older than him for like a month. But that month is almost over, and then I'll only be a year older than him. He is eons older than me in wisdom and consciousness and a heart and compassion and love. Like, he is just such a gift to the world. And so we begin celebrating him this weekend, and I'm so excited to do that. I have a couple little plans. He's very low-key, doesn't want a lot of attention and fuss. But it's beautiful to be preparing to honor my partner, my Pisces dreamer, who just brings so much into my world and this human journey I'm taking. So that is where we're at. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful moment for me. And I'm deep in construction now of my website. After I had all of that journaling, writing down, how I could move all the parts and pieces. It was like a big puzzle, and I could finally see how all the puzzle pieces were going to be placed so that the grid would be in alignment with infinite embodiment as I feel it and express it. And so I sat at my computer, and I was just like going, creating a quick image and a web page, and then moving the other pages into the sequence so they would line up right, and going against the clock because I had a gym call that night at 6. And I also had a Gene Keys call that day, and I just so wanted to get I am home in place. And so it's in place. Our return home is what I'll work on next. And then it's like in the behind the scenes work that Chip and Joe do when they're getting a house ready. I feel like the framing is done, the structure's in place, and now what I'm doing on my website is going into each of the rooms and painting and putting all of the furniture in place and all the little extras that just make a room feel so inviting and welcoming, and simplifying, like getting rid of the clutter. And I have a lot of rooms on my website, a lot of pages and a lot of content. And I mean, 7 years worth of stuff that has flowed through me from my soul, my guide, source, from home. And so I'm going to get it all polished and pretty and ready. And then we'll see what happens from there. We'll see how the income stream flows, and then I don't know, like maybe my husband and I just go this summer and do the documentary ourselves with a video camera and a microphone and travel on our own to all of these places. Or maybe there are a few people that want to go with me. Maybe I decide still, like, this isn't the year and I'll do it next year. Like, I don't know. And it's so okay. Not even okay. It's so divinely guided. And yeah. Here I sit. It's fun to be able to come and share what I'm moving through with you. And I just always trust that there is purpose to it, and that it's serving you as much as it's serving me. So thank you for witnessing. Yeah, we'll see where we go from here. I'll be back next week. Have a beautiful weekend. Thank you for tuning into this vibration of pure love. I invite you to join me on Facebook or Instagram in a community I call the Gaia Tribe Reunion, where we show up together to share our soul's gifts, what we came here to Gaia to contribute to humanity. You can learn more at viviennegerard.com. Let's take this message of Gaia's love out into all of our relationships and communities today. So much love from my heart to yours.